1000万 MLB 翻訳侍戦士チャンネルへようこそ。明日からカクタスリーグが開幕し、山本由伸投手の注目の一戦となるシカゴカブス戦。ライブ BP では佐々木朗希投手がメジャーの打者と対戦し、素晴らしい投球を披露しました。このチャンネルでは、日本人選手たちの活躍を現地の番組の映像とともにお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう、ぜひチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
Welcome you inside our Sportsnet LA studios, joined tonight by Jerry Hairston Jr. Once again, Tim Cates with us from AM 570, host of Dodger Talk. This is the final show that we're going to do for a really long time where we're not talking about a game that was just played, Jerry, no highlights until probably prep day before game one of the NLDS. It's going to be that long.
There isn't a test at the end, is it? No. Okay, good, because I didn't really like shock exams. I wasn't good at that, but I am anxious to get some baseball games underway. Tomorrow is the day.
Yeah, it feels like we're the only three guys not watching Sasaki pitch today in Arizona.
Well, and speaking of that guy, because the big news from camp in Arizona today was Roki Sasaki taking the mound to face hitters in live BP for the first time this spring. As expected, it wasn't just a big deal for the media and the fans at Camelback Ranch, but all of his teammates, for the most part, gathered around to watch as well. Sasaki threw 2 innings, gave up 2 line drive base hits, had a couple strikeouts. Afterwards, Roki discussed taking that next step in his transition to the major leagues.
Roki, to take part in your first live BP today. First, how did it feel just to be out there? Obviously, a lot of eyes were on you. So how do you feel it went?
今日初めてのライブ BP になりましたけど、今日投げてみて、気持ちだったり、全体的に感想を聞かせてください。
そうですね、最初だったので、こう感覚というか確かめながらになったんですけど、ブルペンの感覚、今までこう、踏んできたブルペンの感覚よりも、予想してたよりは、いい状態で投げれたかなと思います。
Obviously, because it was my first time, I was feeling out how things would go, but I did feel that today went better than I'd felt in my bullpens leading up to today.
Your next step will be in Cactus League games. What is the focus for you when it comes to just getting your feel and getting ready for the regular season?
Just looking over the things that didn't go well today, reviewing the data, reviewing the video, and working to improve those things.
What did you feel better about today compared to your bullpens?
Just overall, my velocity was better, and having hitters in the box, even though I threw a decent amount of balls, I felt that my command was sort of where I was generally aiming for.
During the recruitment process, you kind of were curious to see what teams would say about you getting your velocity back. What's the progress been like in trying to get that velocity back to where it was before last year?
Just improvements to my delivery. I think my sort of training regimen is the same, and I can't really talk about specifics, but just improvements to my delivery.
When the whole organization, your teammates, fans come out to watch you, does that give you nerves, or is it exciting to take them out of those?
There are more players behind the plate than I thought, but I wasn't really nervous. I was just a little surprised to see that many of them there.
And Shohei and Yoshinobu have gone through this process before. How helpful is it to have them kind of by your side and helping transition to your first year at Big League Camp?
From the first day of camp, they've been really helpful in guiding me through all the things that I don't know about. And as games start, I think there'll be more and more of those things that I don't know about. And so being able to talk to them about those things will be really helpful.
There's going to be a lot of people watching today, obviously, anticipation. I think it'll be good for him to, see how his stuff plays against our hitters. It's a good step for him. It's not going to kind of really make or break anything. I just think it's just a good opportunity for him to kind of get a different experience.
How much do you think Roki needs to pitch in order to get ready for the Cubs in Tokyo?
A handful of starts before, Tokyo, and we'll just see how it goes. But I think with Roki, we're still learning. We really are. And I don't think, as he gets on a routine, a regimen, we're learning more each day, each week. And I do think we got to give ourselves him some kind of be able to read and react a little bit with him.
What can we really expect from him as a rookie just this year, and sort of obviously understanding that there's a lot of depth and talented arms behind him in front of him?
I think that we should be able to expect him to fill up the strike zone, go as hard as he can for as long as he can, to learn from each outing, and after that, everything else will take care of itself.
Obviously, the event was quite the spectacle. Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic tweeting out this photo saying the entire Dodgers organization is catching a glimpse of Roki Sasaki's live BP, or at least it seems like it. And it was the next big step in Roki's progression today, throwing that live PP. It's not a game situation, Jerry, but how important was it for today for Sasaki and his progression, because he might be considered to start game 2 in Japan?
Yeah, obviously it's important because he needs to get some innings under his belt. Listen, there is nerves. I don't care who you are. This kid is a young man. Yes, he's pitched in big games before in Japan. He pitched in the WBC for Japan, but this is the big leagues, facing some big league hitters and all those guys behind the cage watching him. He knows all eyes are on him, not just here in camp, but the cameras back at home watching his every pitch, his delivery. But the most important thing, I think he understands, is getting with the coaching staff, making sure there is a buildup happening. 2 innings here, maybe another simulated game, and then gets a start in camp and start building innings and be ready for Japan.
It was interesting to hear Dave Roberts say that we're still trying to figure him out. He's trying to figure us out. It's like when you get a new car. You like it, it's shiny, it's got all the new bells and whistles. You're still trying to figure it out. You may hit the wrong buttons a couple of times, but I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to get on the same page with Roki, and goes from bullpen session to live BP. Next step, Camelback Ranch pitching in a spring training game.
Yeah, and 2 years younger than Yoshinobu Yamamoto when he came over, and Yamamoto was a 3-time MVP already in Japan, and Roki not quite as decorated in terms of all those awards. Now, Sasaki, he faced 3 MLB veterans, David Bodie, the former Chicago Cub, a pair of former NLCS MVPs in Tommy Edman, and also Eddie Rosario, the former Brave. Jerry, obviously it's not game action, but what can Roki take away from facing big league hitters for the first time today?
Well, I think a little bit of feedback. Obviously, the big leaguers are trying to get their footing, obviously seeing pitches as well, but Tommy Edman can kind of tell the pitching coaches, obviously Roki himself through the translator, what he's seeing. You know, is he showing his ball too early? You know, as hitters, I want to see the ball right away out of the pitcher's hand. When a pitcher is hiding it, it's so much more difficult for the hitter to pick it up, and the ball's on you. Is this split, has that late dart out of the zone? Does his fastball have life? So there's a lot of information passing back and forth between the hitter and Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, communication going back and forth amongst the hitters, the pitchers, the coaching staff as well. I think back to last year in Yamamoto getting the start in Korea, and the Padres kind of getting after him early, and there was a kind of like, all right, welcome to the big leagues moment. Was he tipping pitches? Was it his mechanics? This is that opportunity where they can get eyes on him. The hitters, as you said, Jerry, can get eyes on him. What are we seeing? Is he tipping anything off? Is he doing something that's not natural that we can help him out with as hitters?
Here's another thing, too. And we're always doing this. I remember playing with Zach Greinke. We played together with Milwaukee. Now with the Dodgers, my last season, he would throw changeups to lefties all the time, rarely to the righties. I go, bro, why don't you throw the change to the righties? He grabbed me after our live BP, went in the bullpen, and just concentrated on throwing that changeup to righties with myself. Even veterans can learn and try to get better. So obviously, Roki, it's a process. He's going to get there.
Well, we mentioned Tommy Edman being one of the guys who faced Roki Sasaki today, and Edman got a base hit off of the Phenom. Here is the NLCS MVP on his first experience seeing Roki from the batter's box.
Yeah, it was good, you know. I was excited to get in there and kind of see what all his pitches moved like, and, you know, he got a good fastball, obviously, everybody knows about, and I was curious to see what his splitter did, and, you know, it's got a lot of movement, a lot of action on it. But, yeah, no, his stuff looks really good, and I know it's going to play at this level for sure.
You could kind of maybe compare it to something that player you've seen, similarities. Is there anything you can kind of point to?
Just off the top of my head, it's not like... It's kind of a like the splitter to me just seemed like it was one of those that kind of has a lot of action on it, a lot of deviation from the fastball, you know what I mean? So like the fastball obviously got some ride and run, and then the splitter has a lot of depth off of that. So I think that's why those two play so well off each other.
How does that fastball feel just standing in against it?
Yeah, it was good. You know, he's obviously a tall dude, gets some good extension down the mound, and you know, it got some good life, especially when it's up in the zone. You know, it definitely has some carry on it. So, you know, it's a good fastball.
You ever seen many people behind home plate for a live BP before?
Yeah, and I've also never seen this many people standing around to hear me talk about a live BP. But, yeah, no, it was yeah, definitely a fun environment, and I know everybody was excited to watch it, and I'm excited to play behind him in some games this year.
And it was Tommy Edman as well as the former Cub David Bote who got the 2 base hits off of Roki Sasaki. Edman's not going to be facing Roki, Jerry, in any real game. So from a hitter's standpoint, what are they trying to get out of a live BP session?
It's all about rhythm and timing for hitters. You're trying to see the ball, making sure you have your timing, because Cactus League games, we just mentioned it, it's going to be tomorrow. So you want to see as many pitches. For me, I want everything. And I would tell the catcher, show me everything. I'll get 3 or 4 or 5 pitches. Give me his fastball, his split, his breaking ball. I want to see it all. And I'm going to take a lot of pitches because I want to see the ball deep in the zone. And then also, if I'm facing a Roki Sasaki, I want to make sure as a veteran guy, I'm able to see everything so I can help him, because he's making that transition from obviously Japan to now the big league. So any which way I can help him, I'm going to help the young guy.
Tommy Edman mentioned it. I think the split finger is the pitch that everybody was trying to get eyes on today. Fastball is one thing, but that split finger is his go-to pitch, and it's been talked about for the last 3 years over in Japan. They wanted to see what it looked like, what the depth was all about. How real is it?
Yeah, Will Smith today said it was fun to catch, and when Austin Barnes caught his first bullpen, he said it's difficult to catch that. That's how much movement his splitter does have. Now, just one more sleep until the Dodgers take the field for Cactus League play. Tomorrow at noon, the Dodgers facing the Chicago Cubs. You can watch every Cactus League game right here on Sportsnet LA. March 18th and 19th, wheels up to Japan for that Tokyo series, also against the Cubs. Then it's back to Southern California, March 23rd, the annual Freeway Series with the Angels. March 27th is the home opener against AL Cy Young Award winner Tarek Skubal and those Detroit Tigers. Not only will Yoshinobu Yamamoto start the regular season opener in Japan against the Cubs, Dave Roberts announced today that Yoshi's going to start tomorrow's Cactus League opener also against the Cubs. Tim, spring games, we know they're not a very big deal, but it'll be fun to see Yoshi back out there tomorrow.
Yeah, a little surprised that this is going to be a Cubs team that they see over in Tokyo. Why get the start tomorrow if you're going to see them in a month and they get a chance to get a couple at-bats or at least 2 innings against him? He won't be out there for very long, but certainly the brass is a lot smarter than I am, and they're certainly got this mapped out. They know when he needs to pitch and start ramping him up in order to get ready for that late March game in Tokyo.
And you got to remember, when it's a Cactus League game, usually it's not the first 9 guys that are starting. So it'll probably be 3 or 4 starters that the Cubs are going to throw out there. It's going to be one at-bat. Really, hitters can't really take away from one at-bat, so the advantage still goes to Yamamoto. The most important thing is he's getting his work in, so be ready for that opening night in Japan.
And maybe he won't use his entire arsenal tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. Leave something in that mystery bank for later on. Still ahead on Access, umpires have been calling balls and strikes for more than 150 years, and people have complained about calls ever since then. This spring, it's step 1 in giving the umpires some help behind the plates. Plus, my spring conversation with the World Series MVP, how he stayed motivated during a challenging season, and how that Grand Slam truly changed his life.
Schwarb's there. He's in favor of it.
Certainly is. I think a lot of players will be, but it'll probably be mixed reactions across the board. We'll find out this spring. Now, earlier we heard from Tommy Edman facing Roki Sasaki. That wasn't all Edman talked about today. Here's more from the NLCS MVP on the eve of Cactus League play.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we had obviously an amazing year last year and added even more talent. So we're excited to see what we can do, to see what we can accomplish. And, as talented as we are, we still got to go out there and play the games and compete. So it's exciting that our first game's tomorrow, and ready to get right back to it.
You're a utility guy. How do you manage just prioritizing kind of where your focus is just kind of as you head into this season?
Yeah, I always just try to make sure I'm staying fresh at whatever position. Like today, I took ground balls at second, ground balls at short, and then shagged a few in center field. So, the lighter days, I'll probably focus on one position, and if I'm trying to get a lot of defensive work, I'll try to mix a couple in there. Once season starts, I'll probably just stick to one per day. Definitely got to make sure I'm getting reps from both sides. Hitting right-handed is the key, because you don't see as many left-handed pitchers. So if I feel like I'm not getting enough at-bats right-handed, I'll make sure I get in the get in the cages, do some high velo machine, maybe do some traject. So that's the nice thing with having that is you can kind of simulate at bats without having to actually play in a game and get those at bats in a game. So there's ways to make sure I'm getting all the reps, both right-handed and left-handed.
Have they told you how much infield you're going to play this spring?
What infield position?
How much infield you're going to play this spring as opposed to maybe playing a lot of center?
Yeah, I think it sounds like I'll be playing more infield than outfield, but I'll be still mixing in at both spots.
Well, we expect to see Tommy Edman mostly in center field, but also some time in the infield, second base, maybe shortstop as well, Jerry. For the utility guys, and the Dodgers have quite a few of these, is there more to their preparation during spring training because they've got so many different positions?
Yeah, I mean, you want to get your work in a variety of positions. Guys like a Tommy Edman plays center field and shortstop. Communication. Manager Dave Roberts will tell Tommy, hey, tomorrow you're going to be playing shortstop. Probably the next day you're going to be in center field. After that, you're going to get the day off. So what he would do, prepare for himself playing shortstop, and the very next day prepare himself playing center field. These guys know exactly what they need to do. Tommy's been doing it for a long time. Mookie Betts, now he's going to be the everyday shortstop, but he's done it as well. So guys like CT3, Kike Hernandez, they know exactly what they need to do. If you don't feel great on the infield, you're going to really concentrate for a couple days. And you might even tell your manager, hey, you know what? Give me some reps at shortstop. That way I can really get my feet going, and then I can go to the outfield.
I think it's more important right now than it has been in the last few years for the Dodgers for the reason that Mookie Betts is at shortstop. You've got 4 different Dodgers that can play second base. Who's going to win the job? We don't know. But you think about the guys that can platoon all around and play second base as well. He's got to get used to that. The feet at second base for double plays, where they're going to line up, positioning, where he likes to throw. All that kind of stuff needs to be worked on now.
It is amazing. And listen, especially nowadays, back in the day when I played John in the 50s and 60s, you can get killed turning a 2 because there were no rules. They come right after you and take you out. Now you have to slide right in the bag, so it's not as taxing. If you're the second baseman, hey, just get it to me to the bag because the guy's going to slide in. He didn't have to take me out. So it's easier nowadays for second baseman. I'm definitely that old head complaining now.
Yeah, we'll tell all those young kids out there to Google Hal McRae sliding into second base back in the day because taking guys out.
佐々木朗希投手がメジャーの打者と対戦し、非常に楽しみな場面を見ることができました。ウィル・スミスやバーンズ捕手が絶賛したスプリットの切れ味は本当に素晴らしかったそうです。明日からはカクタスリーグのカブス戦が始まり、山本由伸投手の先発も決定。そして3月には東京での開幕シリーズも控えています。いよいよ実戦が始まりますね。皆さんの期待や感想などありましたら、ぜひコメント欄でお聞かせください。では、次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。